Hey. Of course, yes, I'm still working on that booklet on apophatism. And if I didn't work 7 days a week, I probably would have had it finished already, but I certainly don't. I'm going to make this a simple video, and this is something that is not only not known now, but was completely misunderstood thousands of years ago. And I'm going to give you an example and talk about divine negation, or apophatism, because I deal with this as a Pali translator, probably translating Pali now for over 20 years. Is that around about the 4th century CE, or what we call 4th century AD, really, really long time ago. It was completely twisted and warped by the Sarwastivadins, who became the Theravadins. Those are those yellow-robed guys running around Laos, Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Ceylon. That Buddhism was unique, and of course it wasn't originally called Buddhism. That word didn't even exist until very, very recently, a few hundred years ago. That Buddhism taught that there was no soul. And of course, it never did any such thing in doctrine, because I'm the world's foremost expert on that topic. I know every occurrence of it. And if Buddhism had taught that there was no soul, it would be followers, obekave, as they say in the ancient Pali, a language nobody speaks anymore. There is no soul. Stop asking me about it. No such passage exists. Instead, it is rupa nata, vedanata, sankaranata, namarupa natati. This is not the soul, that's not the soul. This via negativa methodology. So this is completely misunderstood thousands of years ago. Completely subverted and perverted by these religious belief systems and sects. That's why I'm not interested in religions and belief systems. Don't care anything about them. Only interested in genuine metaphysics and the logic thereof. So this is not something that people don't know what it is. Well, they don't know what it was. It was really an abstruse. There's a great word everybody should learn. Abstruse. Not only a rare word, the word itself basically means rare. Abstruse principle of metaphysics. And this is the reason why we have the cloud of unknowing and the negative dialectic of divine negation, such that we were affirming something, specifically the absolute and the attribute of the absolute. We say ousia of the agathon. We talk about the attribute of the absolute, or ananke, or the euristos dias, the extrinsic attribute of the absolute, i.e., that which is good. Its attributional nature is to do good. And there's no distinction between what is good and what it does, which is good. And that's not doing something as an action or activity, but specifically attribution, because this is where this whole notion of prima cause and original sin and first cause comes in. And that is something specific that is an illogical, insane belief system of religions. First cause, original sin, Adam and Eve and the snake and the apple. This stuff is completely heretical from the premise of monistic metaphysics, both Greek and Indian, and also to Egyptian, actually, for that matter. So we're talking about affirmation through negation. And I use a couple simple analogies. We always talk about, I used to buy gold bullion ages and ages and ages ago. Also to silver. And, before it could be cast into bullion form, not that this is silver bullion, this is an old dollar coin, we talk about purification. But gold or silver is never purified, it's extracted. Yeah, extraction. And it's extraction through removal of the host rock, or whatever it's embedded in. It could be amalgamated with other things. Like Germany actually generated hydrogen through electrolysis by splitting water. So it's just still extraction. When we talk about water, the hydrogen is still pure hydrogen, the oxygen is still oxygen, but it's in this liquid form called water. We apply a charge, we split up the oxygen and the hydrogen was used to fill the Hindenburg. We all know the fate of the Hindenburg, but whether it be hydrogen from water or gold from wherever it's extracted from, or silver too, purification never ever occurs, because silver is silver and gold is gold. This affirmation through negation is the only and I don't mean this in a roundabout way, is the one and only methodology and metaphysics of all Greek and Indian and Egyptian monism. This anamnesis, smriti, sati, which literally translated as recollection. It's not like recollecting what you ate yesterday. It's recollection, and we have to dissect the word recollection, tear it apart, the etymology of recollection. Yeah? We are recollecting. We are pulling out that which is desirable from what is undesirable. In other words, we are separating out objectivity from subjectivity. But we cannot make a positive affirmation. Think about this for a second, because if you don't understand this, you're never going to understand a damn thing. We can't make a positive affirmation about anything that is commendable, that is awesome, be it the soul or the absolute, because to make a positive affirmation is to posit it. When you make a positive affirmation, you have to posit it. And when you posit something, you make objectivity of something. But there is no objectivity of that which is pure subjectivity. And this is the reason why we're talking about and everybody should buy this book, or you could buy this as the same thing, Pseudo Dionysius, to read the works of Plotinus. Also, too, this inspired John Scotus Erigena to compose the Pitaphesian, which I recommended 1,000 times over and over and over again. We can only make affirmation of what is true, best, and absolute, the gold of metaphysics, if you will, i.e. liberation, as they call it, vimukta, suvimutta chittasan bandham. Nirvana means the thoroughly liberated nous or chitta, i.e. the soul, not consciousness, because consciousness is the broadcast. Consciousness is consubstantial to the psychophysical and, of course, the signal. We cannot affirm anything positive of that which is pure subjectivity, which is antecedent to whatever is both objective and is posited. So, recollection or recollecting, extracting gold from the host rock, extracting silver from the host rock, extracting that which thou art, tattvam asi, or as they say, aham brahmasmi, meaning you, that thou art, or I am, thou art Brahman, And that refers to the absolute, by the way, not a God. Okay, if you'll actually look up a Google search, type in Brahman, you'll probably get, well, Brahman, God. No. There's two distinctions of usage of the word Brahman, by the way. People always make that confusion. The negative theology of affirming and pointing towards, because you can't point towards it, because if you could point towards it, it would be objective. And if it were objective, then it is phenomena. And whatever is phenomena is fleeting, unreal, and suffering. The identification which is suffering. Phenomena itself is not suffering. It's a false identification with phenomena is, of course, suffering. And that's the identification phenomenology of seeing yourself as something else. In other words, seeing yourself as that which you see in the mirror. This anamnesis, this smriti or sati, is extraction. Just like gold is extracted from the host rock. Nobody on earth ever, just think about this for a second, so that you can actually have a firm grasp of this metaphysical metaphor. Nobody on earth ever in history has ever purified gold. Sure they have. No, they haven't. They've extracted gold from its dilution with or into something else. In the case of hydrogen, it would be into the water molecule, right? Because there's very, very little natural hydrogen, except from like natural gas deposits, for example. We get like 99% of our hydrogen, I believe, from water electrolysis. That's not purification. That's extraction. Nobody has ever purified gold. They've extracted it through means and processes of its amalgamation, its dilution. You could have, for example, like the, say, $10 million boulder contains $10 million of gold. But it's completely useless until you extract it out of the host rock, that gold is amalgamated and embedded into that rock. When we talk about affirmation through negation, or apophaticism, the via negativa taught by the Platonists and the Neoplatonists. We are affirming that which is desirable on the basis of liberation and illumination and wisdom, which of course there's no distinction between wisdom and the self. Absolutely none. Through negation. And this is, and I hate the word more than any other word in the English language because it doesn't mean anything, the word meditation. Meditation is useless. But if we go to the root word, it goes from Zen is the Japanese word, and the Chinese word is channa. And channa goes to the word janna. And the root word of that is jati, it means to burn. In other words, where you're burning away all objectivity. How do you find a needle in a haystack? Well, you don't go looking for a needle in a haystack. You just set fire to the haystack. The only thing that's left is a needle. It's extraction through negation. This is negative affirmation. This is what the greatest mystics who have ever lived on this earth, Pseudo-Dionysius, Plotinus, John Scotus Erigena, who wrote the Periphysian, Gregory of Nyssa, Plotinus, Numenius, Syrianus, Iamblichus, Damasius, Proclus, Porphyry. This is the teachings of the greatest and wisest mystics who ever walked the earth. You can never make affirmation of what is utmost or the absolute. It's completely impossible. If you think about that for a second, you'll understand it. But that's also too right, you need to read these books as I mentioned in the last video. So I hope that clears things up slightly. This is what we call divine negation. Yeah, it's literally what it's called. It's called divine negation. That's not being negative, it's being positive. You are making manifest the gold, or the manna, if you will, of that which is most desirable, liberation, the self, the absolute, through objective negation. That is extraction of what is desirable from the undesirable that it is amalgamated with or embedded in. I hope I made that somewhat clearer. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you do, always click the link below. Tell me what you think, feel, or believe. Whatever makes you happy. Goodbye.